All right. Hello, everybody. So I just watched, unfortunately, the third Lolcow bus. Well, I mean, I was I was multitasking for sure, but yeah, I just watched the third Lolcow bus, and so I'll tell you everything you need to know so that you don't have to waste your time because honestly, nothing really happened. Like honestly. First, I want to say that just because I do believe that these things are scripted and planned, like a lot of the bits and stuff that they do, but I don't think that means that it's not coming from somewhere genuine. And so I am not going to just like write off everything that, I'm not just going to write off everything that Amber or any of them say or do because it's quote scripted or whatever. I still think in some cases it can come from a genuine place. I'll address the elephant in the room. Foodie Beauty did not show up tonight. She was supposed to, I guess, show up for the second half of the show. She didn't. And she says it's because of you know who posting you know what. And I'm sorry if you don't know, but I can't say I can't say who because he's notoriously a channel striker for anybody who says his name. And then I can't say what it is because it's inappropriate. So, but yeah, basically proving that him and Foodie have seen each other since Foodie's been back in Canada. That's that on that. And then Sweet Tea starts bringing up some questions that she got based on what Jordy, I guess, brought up in some live stream or something. I don't know. But she brings up Beck cleaning the rags that she used to wipe her butt, and then also brought up using Eric's late mother's washcloths as as toilet paper essentially, and then throwing them away and then denying it. And Amber just she just straight up denies this. She just says no, it didn't happen, right? So in terms of Beck cleaning her rags, right? Because obviously we don't care if Amber like cleans herself in the way that with the sink. We don't care, right? It wasn't just that. It was that she was making Beck. Well, also she was making Beck wipe her butt for her, but she was also making Beck clean the rags and whatever. And she just says she not only denies that Beck cleaned the rags, but she denies that Beck cleaned the rags essentially because there were no rags to be cleaned. And so it's yeah, which I find hilarious because who just makes that up? Because that's like such a random thing to make up and why. And Amber keeps saying things like, "Oh, obviously I wipe normally. Obviously I wipe normally." Girl, how? I know you can't reach back there, so how? But yeah, she just denies it even happening. She does it, but and then they don't even push back on that, right? It's just no, okay, well, I guess that's that. Like, okay, girl, what? And then she says that she does confirm that her and Emily are officially back together as girlfriends, not just a situationship, a girlfriendship. And she says that Emily lied about the rags, Amber like using washcloths to wipe herself, even though Emily had no idea that Rachel was going to leak that message. Emily was, Emily told Rachel not to say anything about that. And so, Amber, if that's what you believe, I mean, obviously that's not what she believes because she knows that's what she does, but Amber, you're just embarrassing. And you are, gullible. Okay, for a good part of this live stream, Scooter trauma dumps. And it's about him and his mom's toxic relationship, essentially. And Amber just looks bored the entire time. Obviously, she does. and she keeps looking at another screen off to like her lower right or left. I don't remember which side. And in my opinion, I think she's on FaceTime with Emily because also later on, um, it looks like she's kind of talking to that, like in that direction towards said screen. So yeah, I mean, obviously we know how she loves to be on FaceTime 24/7. So then people get really bored of Scooter trauma dumping, even though I will say, Scooter's trauma dump was the highest viewership of the whole stream, I'm pretty sure. Their highest was about, I think, 4.2K, and that was their very peak. It was most of the time it was under 4K, and then by the end it was like at 3K. So like yeah. And those that viewership is really starting to decline a lot. Um but yeah, Keem comes in doing during Scooter's trauma dumping session to assure us that it isn't boring and it's definitely not dragging out. Okay. And then I think Boogie comes in and also like defends Scooter and whatever. So essentially, what was happening is that Roxy was in line to potentially go up and chat with Scooter because Scooter said something. I don't remember what Scooter said about Roxy earlier on in the live stream, but he said something about her and she didn't like that. So she wanted to come on and talk to Scooter. And so then they see that Roxy's in line, and so then they put a price on it. They say if people donate $500, if five $100 donations, then Roxy can come on. And as soon as they put a price on it, Roxy dropped out of line. And Roxy was mad at Scooter, being like, "I wanted to talk to you. Why did you do that?" And then for some reason, Sweet Tea compared Roxy to Ghislaine Maxwell, who is Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice. And so once Roxy dropped out of the line to talk, they put the price down because they were like, no, we're not gonna do this stuff for free, blah blah blah. She just wants to make content off us for free. Like, you guys are talking about her and making money talking about her already. Hello. And so then eventually Keem comes back to give the news that Foodie isn't coming on and why she's not coming on. Um, but then he also says that they should put the price back up because, if they reach it, then Roxy can come on whenever she wants to. Um, Amber also, for some reason, before she knew why Foodie said, like, why Foodie was not going to come on, Amber shit talks Foodie for essentially being desperate and what being, you know, with like still talking to Salah while she's in Canada and whatnot. While even though that's essentially what she did with Emily before they got back together this last time, where Emily sent her off and was like, "Go be good, and if you're good, I'll get back with you." That's literally what Emily did to you. So Amber, I wouldn't talk too much about that. Okay, then something kind of juicy happens. It's really not that juicy, but you can see by the background probably, or I mean definitely the thumbnail. They Scooter brings up pieing faces. Um, and so Scooter says, "We'll pie our faces for $20." But then Amber's like, "I'm better than that. I'm better than that." And it's obvious that they had already talked about it beforehand. And even though I do think Amber genuinely thinks, because she did genuinely have her price set higher than the other two hosts, I do genuinely think she does think she's better than that. I do think it was pre-planned. And so, Amber is so special and is such a baby. Sorry. Um, that she will only pie herself in the face if somebody donates 50. while the other two just do it for 20. And then also says she won't get up and dance either. Honestly, this whole shtick that she's doing, where she's like, "I'm better," like she's not fun. It's not fun, and so like nobody likes that. Nobody's gonna like that, and it's not gonna. I'm sure the Lolcow Live audience doesn't like that either, and so yeah, it's really not. It's not working. It's not working, girl. So, sorry, I'm looking at my, because I wrote notes during that I wanted to bring up so that I didn't forget anything this time. So then for some reason, I don't know how this gets brought up, but Amber mentions that she watched Charlie Kirk's video, the video of Charlie Kirk being ended, if you know what I mean, over and over, and it broke her heart. I don't think Amber knows anything about Charlie Kirk. But and so like it's like and obviously like I wouldn't even care if Amber liked Charlie Kirk because Amber's already a piece of shit, so I don't care. Like it wouldn't really change my opinion on her. Um, but I just find it I just think it's so funny that she's like girl, you you sat there on Twitter watching Charlie Kirk's end of world tour video over and over again. Like, what is she doing? I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know how that got brought up, but yeah. So then somebody finally donated $50, and then they start stalling, talking about what kind of pies they like. Get on with it. Cream the face. And then she finally pies herself, and then she's like, "This is a humiliation ritual." Girl, yeah. No ish. Like, this whole thing is a humiliation ritual. You know this. Don't act dumb. And the views drop a lot during this pie segment. Like a lot. A good at least 500, but probably closer to 1K. And finally, Scooter says, "This isn't fair." Because him and Sweet Tea have to pie their face again and again because people keep donating $20 and nobody's donating 50, and starts to push back against ALR, and so then lowers ALR's price down to 20 also. And then she continues to complain to the other two hosts, like, "Oh my god, it's in my eyes, my hands are sticky." Even though she only had to pie herself once by that point, and the others had pied themselves many times. And then finally, she pies herself twice, two more times, but she is a baby about it and she doesn't go all in. She like barely puts her face into the pie. Of course. Well, like Sweet Tea is adding extras to the pie, like with cherries and chocolate sauce and whatnot. But no, Amber is a special snowflake, and she's so dainty and um, sensitive that she can't do anything. I guess I don't know. It's no fun, Amber. Really, it's not. Nobody is enjoying this, and honestly, Um, you need to be a little bit more pathetic. I'm sorry. You aren't better than that, actually. And that's why nobody donated. One person donated, Amber. You're not better than that. I'm sorry. Okay, that's all for this one. That was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. I hope you have a good day. And yeah, goodbye.